All right, hey, what's up, everyone? Sean here with Blue Ridge Silverhound, and we have the midweek edition of the Pocket Change Market Report. We are on the road, so we are still doing the market report videos when they are scheduled as necessary. The microphone might be a little bit weird. You might have a little bit of echo. It might be a little bit light because I didn't bring my full microphone setup on the road, so we're just going by the computer microphone. So sorry about that, but I thought I'd let you guys know that might hamper things a little bit with the overall quality of the video. All right, so here we are, a new week. We're coming up toward the tail end of the month of April. Again, this year is just blowing on by as quickly as you could blink. Now all of a sudden we are within earshot of the month of May, which is quite crazy. Because I like to say that the market up to this point, for a lot of the coins that we have found and identified, a lot of new stuff coming out of change, has been rather robust. We've seen minor mint errors. Now all of a sudden trading at quite a bit more money. What used to be $1 or $2 now trading for $10, $15, $20. Kind of a change in the direction of the collecting desires of a lot of folks. Folks that probably are looking for a little bit more affordable means of jumping into the hobby and really collecting something that is favorable to them money wise. We're beginning to see a lot more of that. In addition, a lot more higher priced, higher end varieties and errors selling really well, ungraded, which that makes a lot of sense because, like I said before, in these videos, we don't talk about graded coins at all. Keep that grading submission fee in your pocket and just go ahead and sell these when you get to them. So we are going to jump into these here momentarily. Just wanted to shout out our channel sponsor, Whatnot. I've been selling on this platform for over 2 years now, and it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made as far as business and financially. We've been selling some really banging coins here lately, some really great stuff. I would highly encourage you guys to check it out. Add this to your, selection of different areas where you could source coins for your collection. Whatnot is the place to be. It's the #1 live social media auction platform today. We do sales every Friday, except this Friday. Again, we are out on the road. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will be on Sunday for the Treasure Trove event. And we will be back at home base, and we will be ready to go for a Sunday show this week. Go ahead and join up. We got the QR code right there, and we also have the clickable links down below in the description box and pinned into the comment section of this video. If you sign up under me today, you will receive $15 off your first item. It couldn't be easier. And again, one of my favorite platforms to buy, sell on today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right in. See what has sold here on eBay within the last day or so. Starting out with this pairing of Broadstruck and off-center struck Lincoln cents. 2 coins in the mix. The 1998 that you see there is a Broadstruck example, struck out of collar, and that's why the coin is appearing in a much larger shape, probably as close to the shape of a standard U.S. nickel as we will come. And the 1995 looks to be a slightly off-center struck coin there as well. So both of these events occur out of collar. The collar is like a donut ring which keeps the coin in place during the striking process. So if that malfunctions at all, we're going to encounter some problematic strikes like these. Now, problematic strikes are mint errors, and they command quite a nice secondary market premium. So this 2 coin pairing here ended up selling for $25.50, coming in at about $12.75 per coin. I tend to look out for kind of like multi-piece lots, bulk lots. they tend to be a really good value, and we could take those coins and sell them individually back onto eBay as buy and nows. They really help supplement all the other things that we have going on, and especially very important if you're looking to grow your YouTube account. All right. Next one that we have here, and you'll notice that over the course of the last month, we haven't talked too much about paper money. We actually have a number of really pretty pieces this week, including this 1988A $5 bill with all sorts of different things going on. You could say it's a miscut, it's a misaligned print. I mean, this thing is just incredible. And kind of crazy as it seems, just by looking at the note, it's got a fair amount of circulation wear. So, we're living in a world right now where, oddities tend to call out to one another, and even to this day, this note probably could have passed through 100 hands, and those 100 hands wouldn't even, give this the time of day until that one individual who's really into the hobby and knows their stuff and really is curious for oddities like this will see it. They'll pull it out of change and then, do a little research. Come to find out they ended up discovering a really valuable piece, to the point where this one ended up selling for $99.99, which is a pretty nice, was a 20x face value on this one. So if you do come across things like this, again, if it looks weird, hold on to them and just get a little bit more information, so that way you're not throwing away a valuable piece back out into circulation. Next one that we have here, pretty cool. It's been a while since we talked about one of these, 2023 D Jefferson nickel with a really strong die clash. The pictures, as you can see, they're not the greatest, and I've always said that in these pocket change market videos, we don't juice or doctor any of the photos to make them look better. This is exactly how these photos came off of eBay. It's very light, too much light or white exposure on these particular photos, and that's all adjustable even on our smartphones. But in any event, the pictures were just good enough for us to know exactly what we're bidding on here. So when we look at kind of like the finer areas, like you'll notice that anything that's highlighted in red with the arrows and the circle, that's what we're focusing here. So we're talking about die clashing. The dies at one point had made contact with each other, and that's with no planchet in the striking chamber, and it happens on occasion. So when that happens, you're going to get the individual design impressions transferred to one another, to each of the dies. So that'll reflect in some pretty nutso kind of strikes afterwards. As you can see here on this one, you can see Jefferson's eyes right underneath these steps of Monticello. And on the obverse, you can also see some of the transfer lines from Monticello all on Jefferson's face right there. So this particular example, and this again highlights the possibility of what you can find out there, ended up selling for $32.50, which is not bad considering the coin is barely 2 years old, and this one has had a fair amount of circulation wear. Next one that we have here, there's actually no stranger to the list. We've talked about this one, and just looking at these images, we could tell that this particular Washington quarter has circulated a great deal. This is not a beauty queen at all. So the fact that it is on the list and it's sold for a few bucks really tells you the whole story about where this hobby is headed. There are people that kind of thirst for low budget coins, which is where this one kind of falls into. And then there are folks that want the higher end stuff. So I'd like to say that there's coins for every audience, for every group, and we can't really short sell the ability to sell all coins across the spectrum, because if we did that, we wouldn't be able to sell nearly as many coins, and we wouldn't be able to make as much money. So this one right here, this was a very well known one. It's the Bessie Coleman American Women quarter, 2 years old, again, much like the previous coin. This one right here has the little die chip on the tip of Washington's nose, but also a pretty sizable die chip that looks like snow on one of the wings there of that airplane. And it's little minutia like this that even really gets people curious, and they'll throw in a few bids. Now, this coin admittedly sold for $6.69. While you can't retire on it, the way it is, but selling a number of them, all that money will add up in the end. So again, take the small deals with the larger deals, and you should go no wrong as you kind of like build your eBay presence. That's kind of how you do it. I do it as well. I've sold my fair share of $5-6 items, but I've also sold the $500 items, the $1,000 items right on this platform. And I'm telling you, the money adds up. The more you sell across the spectrum of different price values, the better you will be. All right. Next one that we have here, this one's really cool. Not the greatest photos, but it's a 1965 Washington quarter with a cut die break on the reverse there. You can see actually the coin was imaged in a cardboard 2x2 holder. They had drawn an arrow on the back of the 2x2 to indicate the area in question. So a part of the die had broke, fractured, cracked, and that ultimately caused what you see here, which is a raised kind of blobulous anomaly that starts normally at the edge of the coin and then works its way into the design features. This is a good one right here. CUDs are the kings of the error world. Pricing and sales have been wildly consistent on these over, I'd say, the last decade plus. This particular coin ended up selling, and this is, again, another really nice price coin. $108.98 was the final sale price for this quarter here. And hard to think that, a coin that had seen so much circulation and to a lot of people is not very special can sell for over $100 pretty easily, like this one did. Really pretty one here. We did see the 1998 Lincoln at the beginning of the show. I believe that was the one that was Broadstruck, and the two coins sold for $25. This is a 1998 Broadstruck Lincoln Memorial Cent. It's a nice large size Broadstrike, probably somewhere bigger than a nickel but smaller than a Washington quarter in size. And this particular one, again, this is where if you bought it cheaply enough, you could turn around and sell it as a buy it now. This one brought home $47.99 on eBay, and it was set up as a buy it now, add to cart listing, and someone loves it. The pictures are absolutely out of this world. They are fantastic, and it led to a really nice sized sale. One of my favorite listings of the week, it's been a fair amount of time since I've personally found one of these. What if I told you that this is the rarest 1955 doubled die? All right, you guys are probably going to think, well, the only 55 double die I'm used to is the FS101, where you have like crazy doubling on all of the features on the front of the coin. This one does not appear like that. But when we examine kind of like survival rates and how many coins have been made of that particular variety, you're going to see that this particular one is nowhere near as dramatic as the FS101. But I'm here to tell you, this is a very, very well collected FS102 doubled die obverse. You can see the doubling in the motto. You can see it to a lesser extent on the word Liberty. But I'm here to tell you, this one is about 10 times as rare as the FS101, the big one that typically sells for $1,500 to $2,000 and up, depending on grade. This particular one right here, not a lot of people really giving it its due, its credit, because it's been overshadowed by that big FS101 variety. So this one right here, and what I consider to be like a really solid VF30 kind of grade, sold for $210. It's ungraded. The seller did just a bang up job with the images, which always helps to kind of tell the story of what people are bidding on. This is just a really fantastic coin, and prices have been trending upwards on these, but not nearly enough supply is out there to fulfill the demand of collectors that need this for their variety sets. Another neat one here. I haven't seen one of these. Again, probably a while, maybe 6 months or longer. 2018 P Roosevelt dime. We've had these mint errors that have plagued the much later date coins from Lincoln cents to quarters, dealing with the feeder finger. And this is one of those dramatic instances where the feeder finger has made contact with the face of the die, had shifted around some hardened grease all over the coin, and you get some seriously dramatic effects like this one here. So you can see the lines in the background behind the torch and the olive branch sitting in the back. Again, that's the on the die, that area is the highest point. So the face of the die is receiving contact by that feeder finger, which helps insert the next blank planchet for it to strike. So every time it does that, it's making contact with the face of the die, just really, really doing a number to that. So this one here sold for $23.75, which is okay. That's okay money. I've seen these sell for as high as $50, $60. But, when these things just don't pop out, in the auction world, then people tend to forget about them. And then when one pops up, we forget that these things used to sell for a lot more. There's just not a lot of them out there. Just a really nice one, albeit a very tough date. 1923S Buffalo nickel with some pretty wild lamination issues going on. We got detached lamination on the reverse. We got some kind of like flaky lamination on the obverse. Yeah, this thing has had a rough go of it. This one sold for $19.95. Again, that's okay. It is a very tough date, regardless. And the lamination probably made this one worth a little bit less because of that. Neat one here, 1980 Lincoln Memorial Cent with a pretty nice sized, what they call indent on the obverse there. And this is real simple. There were two coins overlapping each other and then were subsequently struck. So this particular coin has another matching piece that kind of fits this one like a lock with a key. It could be out there, it could have been destroyed at the mint through the regular quality control process. This one is a pretty neat indent. You can actually see some of the brockage, some of the design details of the secondary coin shining through there. So with this one here, this one sold for $29, and these are relatively stable mint errors on the secondary market. Not nearly as fantastic as, say, cut die breaks. As far as the kind of like the hierarchy of what sells more or less. But these are a really nice kind of like mid-pack. Probably more similar to off-center strikes as far as value and, market share for those. So, yeah, if you do come across these, you know exactly what they are. And they are, again, very collectible and very neat, especially on the much older coins that are copper and not today's copper-plated zinc compositions. Let's see, the next one that we have here is just a really nice off-center struck Roosevelt dime. It's a later dated copper nickel clad. This one is off-center by about 50%. I like the way that the seller kind of like grouped together like in a collage style all of the images that are relevant to this. They even did a nice image side shot there showing no reading whatsoever, which makes sense because these are out of collar strikes, and the collars have that reading because it is, in a sense, a die by itself. So this one here sold for $29.99. We also have this real beauty, and if a coin is too far gone to the point where you need to acid date them just to see if it's like a big variety, sometimes that's what you'll have to do, because Buffalo nickels did not wear very well. They were designed so that way where the date sits on them, that area wears a lot quicker than the rest of the coin. So you might have a coin that could grade out VF, but won't have a readable date. So this is a true blue, legit 1918 over 7D Buffalo nickel, one of the most well-known overdates of the series. And unfortunately, this one had to have a little bit of an acid blot right on the date there to determine that. And sure enough, this one hits it out of the park. It's got the half moon little circles in the top loops of the 8 and the bottom loop of the 8 as well, which is what you want to see to make sure that this one is legit. So even though it's been acid treated, this one did sell for $264.85. If you think that's a lot, a legitimate non-acid dated with a readable date can fetch as much as $1,000 and up. These coins are insanely expensive when you have a full readable date and if they're problem free. But in this particular case, if someone just needed an example of this coin for, say, like an album, you'll easily spend $200, $300, $400 for an acid treated example just so you could have it. And yeah, this is the one I want to talk to you guys about because this is one that has flown under the radar. It is actually surprisingly not a cherry picker's guide variety. 1983 Lincoln Memorial Set WDDR number 3. Now we generally associate the DDRs on this with the FS801, which is that very big, robust, doubled die reverse that we all know and love. But this is a great consolation prize right here that, again, surprisingly has a fair amount of value. So this coin, from what we could see, is in great shape. Nice, robust, brilliant red. It does have a fair amount of die file lines all throughout, so those aren't scratches at all. Made post-mint. So when we look at, especially on the word 1, has got some really nice doubling on there. You can see the separation lines. Also the word United in United States of America, you can see it from left to right. And then also, to a lesser extent, the bottom left corner of the Lincoln Memorial, you can see some of that doubling as well. This is actually a really cool doubled die reverse. Again, it's the Wexler DDR number 3. And this example, ladies and gents, sold for $54.95. To put it into perspective, the FS801 about 10 years ago were generally bought and sold for right around $50-$60. That's before they began to explode in the market right around the pandemic. And now, to even get one, you're going to have to cough up about $150 to $200 just for a regular circulated example. This is a great one here because it is quite a bit more rare than the FS801, and it's really nice. You will need a magnifier to get in close to see this. Anything 10 times power and higher will be sufficient, but this is a really awesome coin. All right, here's our next piece of paper money, 2013 dollar bill. This is actually a very minor example of what we call a inkwell contamination error. So when we look at the two sets of serial numbers on this note, the top right corner serial number is actually a very robust green color, whereas the bottom left color looks probably more of a darker pine green. So what had happened was some of the black ink had contaminated into the inkwells of green for that left side of the plates and had made that serial number a little bit darker. I've seen them get to a point where they're almost completely black. All right, and those are the ones generally that you want when you're searching for these. As of right now, we've seen these on 2013 and 2017 dated notes. 2017A, absolutely not. We're not finding those on 17As. But 13 and 17. So this one right here, great example, sold for $65.99. And the grading companies like PMG and PCGS Banknote will attribute these with inkwell contamination error on them. And it's, again, it's another great find. If you're not looking at your paper money, I would highly encourage you guys to do so, because you never know if you're going to find something like this. And there's a reverse, just showing that this one had, been in many wallets and many purses over its life, many cash registers, far from the perfect note. We also have this 2000D Maryland State Quarter. It is Broadstruck, off-center Broadstruck. And the state quarters with any sort of off-center or broad-strike error are very well collected. This one here, a minor one, $13.50. With 4 bids total to get there, was the sale price on that one. We also have this beautiful tough date, 1920 Lincoln Weed Scent is off-center by about 15-20%-ish. The coin has some really great kind of like wood grade surfaces to it as well. Nice higher grade specimen, I'd say like an AU example. Again, I don't have to talk about the collectability on these. People are looking for individual dates. This particular one sold for $179.79. And, whoa boy, a late dated $20 bill. This is a modern big head size non-colorized 2001 with a grossly misaligned overprint, as you can see here. The note itself does have some staining. It's got the teller stamp staining on the top right. It's got like an oily stain to the left of Jackson's portrait there. And when we look at the back, again, not the most prettiest note, but this is a true scarcity, sold for $133 with 18 bids. So the much modern iterations of these errors are very rare, and they are quite a bit more pricey. Pretty nice one here. 1970 AD, you can see a readable date. Struck through a very late stage capped die. So there was actually a coin stuck to the head of the die that had made already a ton of strikes, and that coin had pretty much, gone to the point where it's like paper thin, and it was starting to wrinkle. And that's why we have the finished product that we see here. This one right here is sold for $51 and a penny with 7 bids. Much like Cuds, these are very, very, very consistent coins to sell on the secondary market. So if you got these, generally they'll command $30-$35 and up. Very rarely do we see them for cheaper than that. It's a shame that this one is a scarce semi-key date. 1901S Morgan silver dollar with a planchet flaw on the reverse. Could be a strike through or something like that, but you can see at the end of United and going into the left wing of the eagle there. It's pretty tremendous strike through. The problem is that people that collect Morgan dollars, they know that the 1901S is a really tough date, and they prefer to not have mint errors of this type on them. They just want a nice, clean, wholesome example that they can add to their collection. This is one of those classic cases where a mint error, actually does more of a negative, result on a coin than it does a more positive one. So this coin sold for $99.99. Without the planchet flaw, could have been like $200. Because again, it is that scarce of a date. $1974 bill. Yeah, where's that overprint on this one? And look at the condition of the note. This thing is not pretty at all. It's even got a few tears in the margins, if you could look there. It was all printed on the back of the sheet. So there were probably multiple notes that were affected, obviously, that probably passed through the BEP quality control inspection folks. And really neat one here. I mean, we've seen and talked about these before. This one sold for $249.65. This is what we call a packaging error, a 1957 proof set that has 2 Roosevelt dimes. So it is missing a nickel that was instead replaced with another dime. This is not really a mint error. It is a packaging error. And there are folks that do collect these packaging errors. This one looks to be it wasn't tampered, like opened and then another coin inserted. This one looks good. I've actually seen these in person, and yeah, they're quite interesting for sure. It's not for everyone, but there are collectors of these. Now, a standard 1957 proof set generally goes for around $40 to $45 in today's market. So this one here with the packaging error, it does come with the brown envelope, sold for $130. So again, nice little premium bump up there because of the packaging error. And the final coin, we're just going to end it off on a really nice wholesome type piece here, 1826 Matron head large set. Beautiful, beautiful coin. This is kind of like the nice light chocolatey brown look that I love on these. This is the Newcomb 7 variety. I think that's one of the more common ones of this particular date. But overall, beautiful coin. I'd give this one probably like a VF25 grade. And an awesome type coin to add to a type set or an album. Yeah, just really nice to see. $152.49 was the final result sale on this with 15 bids. And that, my friends, is going to go ahead and wrap things up with the midweek edition of the PCMR. And there you go. That's it, guys. Again, just a final friendly reminder that the information today is for educational purposes only, not financial advice. Please grade your coins responsibly. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hope to see you guys real soon. Best of luck in all of your hunts and whatever you do. There is plenty out there to hunt and to find. It just takes a dedicated person to want to do it and to have fun in this wonderful hobby that we're in right now. I will see you guys next time. I'm going to go do some hunting on my own. And yeah, best of luck. Take care.